This is the heartbeat of human services, a peek into the inspiring stories of our community and all things DHS. Join us.
Welcome to the Heartbeat of Human Services podcast. I'm your host, Allison, and today's topic will be National Reunification Month. With me, I have Kandi Smith, who is the supervisor from East Kern Adolescent and Family Services at Clinica Sierra Vista, and Shannon Stephens, who is the parent educator for East Kern Parents as Teachers program at Clinica Sierra Vista. And I really appreciate you guys joining me today. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for asking me.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to give our audience a little bit of context. Kandi Smith might sound familiar to you because she was on our Parents as Teachers podcast last year. And what was incredible was after the podcast, we were talking to Kandi and she told us about her story. And all of us were like, Kandi, how come you didn't tell us that during the podcast? So we told her then, almost a year ago now, that she needed to come back this year for our reunification podcast. So we're excited to have you guys.
Happy to be here.
We'll have you start from where you feel comfortable starting.
28 years ago, my children were removed by CPS because of my lifestyle and the choices that I had made, and they weren't very good choices. I had to start that reunification process there. At first, I was really mad that they took my kids because when the very thing that a woman who is, made to be a mom is threatened, it's disheartening. And I got really angry.
Yeah.
Like, how dare someone tell me I can't be a mom and that I'm not a good mom? When we went to court and my children were older, they were 7, 8, 13, and 15 when they were removed from me, and I had not made good choices for all of their life. I was able to read the court documents from their interviews, and that was a realization for me that I wasn't a good mom. I'd made horrible choices, and things became more important than being a mom for me. I want to say I was one of the lucky ones that my children could be interviewed and I could hear it from them instead of a social worker telling me what a bad mom, or the system telling me, or the judge telling me that I was a bad mom. I got to read my kids' words about the things that I had done.
So it was kind of that pivotal moment for you when it clicked.
It was a very pivotal moment when it clicked because I always thought, these are my choices and this is my body and what I do with it is my business and I'm not affecting anyone else. My whole life, I thought that, hearing that I affected everybody around me, including my children, was that pivotal moment for me.
So after sort of leaving that court that day and hearing your children's story, did you kind of like have a 360 sort of turn, or was it like a slow, gradual, like, okay, I really need to put in the work to get my kids back? Or
I think over the time that I was in family reunification, it was an up and down. It was those moments of anger and then acceptance. And then this is what I need to do. And then I don't want to do this. Why should I have to do this? So it wasn't a pivotal 360. It was a gradual process, but my husband and I hit the road and did everything that they wanted us to do. It was parenting class, and it was substance abuse counseling, and it was mental health therapy, and it was find those meetings and find what you need to do and just do it. Not that it was easy.
Yeah. Shannon, yours is a little bit fresher, right? What was it, 5 years ago?
So July will be 8 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay.
So I was playing with fire. I had social workers from San Bernardino County who would come to my home and they would interview me and my kids, and for some reason, I got away with it. Then I found myself pregnant and I gave birth to my son, who is now almost 8. I gave birth to him under the influence of methamphetamines, and CPS came in and rightfully so took my children. And I was terrified. I was like, somebody help me, somebody has to help me. But I did that. Like, those are my choices. I chose that. My son wasn't doing so well when he was born, so I didn't really get to see him much. The social workers came into Ridgecrest Regional Hospital and they said, we have a warrant and we're with the police and we're taking your kids. My daughters were with me at the hospital, and I walked with them out to the van, and I put my daughters in the van. And my daughter, she's 20 now, she looked at me and she says, I trust you, Mommy, and I know that you'll make it right and you'll fix it. And I haven't used again since.
Oh my goodness.
A little bit more history. I had 8 children removed from my custody, all the way from 17 to newborn. Some of my kids remember, some of them don't. I also had the same experience where I read what I did, and they took them, and that was the bottom of the ground. What do I do? I knew at some point, I think I knew that when I had my son, that they would be removed, because there was no more skirting around the system. There was no more words. There was evidence. They had proof of what they were saying I was doing was true. And I couldn't hide it anymore. I was mad, but I was mad at myself and my daughter telling me, I believe you, Mommy. I trust you. And then at every visit with my kids while they were in custody, my son, the 17-year-old, I was trying to figure out ways to stay home and stay sane while I was trying to stay sober and fix everything that I messed up. So I started watching Game of Thrones. So at every visit, my oldest son would quiz me on the episodes that I would tell him that I watched. And every visit, my kids saw me getting healthier, gaining weight. And my daughter, same daughter, inspirational girl that she is, she told me, I trust you more than I should, Mommy. I did get my kids back fairly quickly. It was 59 days from removal to placement back in my home. They were on a 30-day extended visit, but at any moment I knew that they could take them again. I have fought a hard fight, but I'm so glad. And this is controversial, I know. CPS saved my life.
Yeah.
I agree. CPS saved my life. They saved my life and my family as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know sometimes they do like the court order classes and things like that for addiction. Did you go through that process as well?
So the kids got taken like on a weekend. Mm-hmm. So first thing Monday morning, I was at CCS, which is now Claire Vita, asking for classes before I'd even had court, before I'd even been contacted by a social worker. I was at the Hope Center asking for help. I was at meetings. I enrolled in all of my substance abuse classes before CPS or the courts ordered them. I was enrolled in parenting classes. I did the Matrix program through Claire Vita, which was CCS at the time. I went through that program. I drug tested for a long time. My color was purple. And every time the color purple was called on the phone, I live in Trona, so it's 22 miles from Ridgecrest, and I had no transportation.
Oh, gosh.
Well, my husband had a car, but it worked when it wanted to. And so we would get to the drug testing, and we would make sure that was priority. But we went through all of it.
I feel like there are so many people, and I think you have to give yourself some credit for, 8 years? 8 years sober, right? That's incredible.
Yes, it's I tattooed it on my arm. I have to take accountability for my actions. And I saw the condition my son, he's perfect. Like he's absolutely perfect. Mm-hmm. He is like a ray of light. He's just that thing that the family needed. It's horrible. The condition that he came into the world is horrible. And I saw him with wires and IVs and tubes, and I did that. And I had to take accountability for that. Because it doesn't matter what I did 2 days ago. I can't go back to 2 days ago. I can't repeat that. I have to move from this day forward. Yeah. Because those children did not ask to come into this world. That was a decision I made. And it's my job, my responsibility to fix what I broke and to hold myself accountable for it. That's what I've done for 8 years, to repair my life.
I am so glad you shared your story, Shannon. My hope is that parents listen to this and maybe they're part of CPS now, or maybe they feel like they're on the edge of it, right? Or they've been skirting around it this whole time. And instead of a wake-up call like you had, maybe they can try to avoid that, right? Yeah. And you guys have such a powerful story. And I think why I wanted to invite you guys on here is because you took that story and you didn't just get sober. You are now have made your whole life to help others that have been in your position. So I'd love for you guys to kind of talk about how you got started with Clinica Sierra Vista and Parents as Teachers program.
So for me, because my kids were older when I got them back, and they weren't in the system really long either. And so when I got them back, they were older and they didn't really need me. So I needed to do something to stay clean and stay focused because they were pretty self-sufficient. So I went to school. I enrolled in college after I had about a year clean. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just know I wanted to do something. I had a mentor at the college in Ridgecrest, and Penny Talley. She's just amazing. And she was in the social services. She was a counselor there, and she kind of made me choose, not make me choose. I wanted to help people. So I worked at the college for a little while. After I went to school there, I got hired in a program that, helped students with their schedules and in crises, and I loved it. And then when I had graduated from there, I needed to do something else. So I became a substance abuse counselor. And I just thought, this is my life. I want to help people. So for 6 years, I was a substance abuse counselor at College Community Services, which is now Clear Vita. And then I lost my jobs because of budget cuts.
Oh, no.
So it pushed me to do something else.
Yeah.
And my actual parenting class teacher from when my children were removed was the supervisor at Clinica Sierra Vista. And I saw her in a restaurant in Ridgecrest, and she said, "Come to work for me." And
what the heck? Kandi,
things just worked out so well, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
She just said, "Come to work for me." And my goal was to be a CPS worker. I really wanted to be a CPS worker. That's what I wanted to do with my life, because I wanted to help people the way CPS had helped me. Because when my children were removed 28 years ago, there were no programs to help. You just did it on your own. We have some really good programs now. But I became a case manager at Clinica Sierra Vista in the differential response program, working with families that are involved with child protective services.
So was DR fairly new at that point?
DR, so that was in 2009. So DR was about 9 years
Okay.
old. So, so as a DR case manager, I worked with these families who were in crisis, substance abuse, involved with child protective services. And I used to go out with child protective service social workers. And I thought, oh my God, I don't want to do what they do. It's just difficult. But DR, I can stay with this family for 6 months and I can help them. So my goal of being a social worker went away. A year after I was the differential response case manager, the supervisor position opened up, and I was strongly encouraged to apply for it. And I applied and I got the position, and that was almost 15 years ago. We've also added parents as teachers in the last 2 years.
Yes.
We've had parents as teachers program that helps families as well that are really on the verge of possibly losing their children. And we don't want that to happen. We want to keep those kids in the home. Even though my life changed because my children were removed, I would rather not have children removed from the home, because it's traumatizing for your kids. And some children deal with it better than others, but it's always traumatizing to remove a child from a home. But sometimes it's necessary, and we understand that.
So Shannon, I would love to kind of hear your story and how you got connected with parents as teachers.
Yes. So I got sober in 2017. And so I sat for a couple of years just trying with the mom guilt, like just trying to take care of my kids and still heal, right?
Yeah.
And have them heal. So in 2019, we were living in Phoenix, Arizona, and my oldest daughter, she's like, go do something. Like she was doing homeschooling. She was doing really well. Go do something. So I went back to school. I was a high school dropped out when I had my first son at 15. So I went and I graduated high school. I got my high school diploma at 36. And then we moved back to California, COVID and all of that. And I started going to Saracoso. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. What am I going to do? When I was when my kids came home, and my social worker, when my kids were home, her name was Sandy. She was amazing. She didn't judge me, and she was just really there to help support me and give me feedback to keep my kids. So I went into human services. And so I got my degree in human services. Mm-hmm. Now, this is how I got in with Clinica Sierra Vista. I was working for Salvation Army in Ridgecrest, and I did the pick count. And I was on Kandi's crew.
Oh.
And so we had met previously, but not really quick interaction.
Yeah.
And so I was on her crew, and we did the pick count together. I ended up parting ways with Salvation Army, and I was in Walmart. I was in Walmart in Ridgecrest, and I hear, Shannon, and I turn around, and there's Kandi, and she's like, there's a position open at Clinica Sierra Vista, and I encourage you to apply for it. So I went to my college graduation, and then directly from my college graduation, I went and had my interview with Clinica, and I've been with them going on 2 years now. Parents as Teachers was brand new in So thanks to Kandi and her hunting me down in Walmart. That's why I'm here. Yeah. I'm in school right now to get my bachelor's in social work. You can be a high school dropout at 36 and get your diploma. But to come from where I came from growing up, nobody would have thought that I would have made it. I didn't think I was going to make it. And I've had great support and help along the way. I really appreciate this woman.
Yeah.
For believing in me and giving me an opportunity for something that's so brand new. And she loves Clinica. She loves differential response. She absolutely adores what she does. And from that interaction, like 5 hours we spent in your car, 5 hours. And she saw something in me and she believed in me and she gave me the opportunity to be a part of a program that truly has made a difference. So yeah, that's how I came to be with Clinica.
I believed in her because someone believed in me. I feel like that's all that these parents really are looking for, is that for someone to believe in them and to show them that they can't lose hope. Life can be better. I believed in me because actually her name was Marlene Harm, and she was at juvenile justice on the day that I went to court. And she didn't judge me. We're sitting in the bathroom and I knew that my drug test was going to be positive, and I just kept saying, nope, I can't go. Nope, I can't go. Nope, I still can't go. And I finally, after hours of her just sitting in the bathroom with me, waiting for me to go, I just said, I think that's when I just surrendered and said, it's going to be positive. She goes, okay, we can work with that. Let's go. And she made all of my appointments for substance abuse counseling. I mean, she sat with me and she hooked me up with everything that I needed. And she didn't judge me. And I feel like because of that, I'm able to say that's what I needed. So that's what these people need too.
You can have bad days, and that's fine. It's about seeing those bad days and making it to the end of them and knowing that tomorrow can be better. If I know where I've been and I can telling you, like, I can do it, so can you. I have clients that stay with me and it's been over a year, and they engage and they talk and they're open and they don't have CPS referrals anymore. Like, Parents as Teachers is a program that doing good work.
Just want to reiterate like how important it is to have people who have been sitting in that spot, right, where those parents have been. You talked about, the person who supported, she was a social worker?
Yeah.
Or awesome. Okay. And who did she kind of help you all, the whole way through the process of getting your kids back?
So part of my children came home and part of them didn't. So I was on family maintenance and on family reunification. So I had 2 social workers visiting me in my home every month. I didn't have the same experience as Shannon did with my oldest child. She told me the day that they were headed to Bakersfield, this is your fault and I'll never forgive you. She was 15. I didn't have that same, like, I love you, Mom, and I support you, Mom. We have an amazing relationship now, but she decided she wouldn't come home. So I stayed on reunification for about a year with her. The social worker that would visit me was Lillian Davis. And she would come to my house every month and visit me and tell me what I was doing wrong and tell me what I was doing right. She was very supportive and she was very stern when she needed to be. But on the other side of that, when I went to work for Clinica, she was the supervisor in Ridgecrest at CPS. So she went from my social worker to someone that watched me grow.
A partner.
And a partner, yeah. So I think that was paramount for me, that I could go from having her visit my home and seeing my struggles. Because of her input, I was also a coworker, kind of,
I want to end the podcast here on one last question, which is what it has meant to you being able to help these families.
For me, I feel like even though it's been almost 28 years, these people keep me on the straight and narrow too. So it's not just about how I'm helping them, it's they're helping me. So it's a back and forth exchange, definitely. Watching families succeed, and even though they go through struggles, and I feel like there's just a light that goes on at some point when you're working with families. They just get it. I've been contacted, private message 6 years after I worked with a family, that just says, hey, thank you for not judging me. We get to watch lives be changed and families be restored.
For me, At first, I didn't know if I was the right person for the job. Like, who's going to listen to me? But I find that do what you say you're going to do and you show up when you say you're going to show up, you're building that trust with your families. And a lot of the times people just don't know who to go to for support. They're afraid of being judged or looked down on. And so watching them make the improvements, hearing their stories at the next visit on what they've accomplished, and seeing that light bulb moment where they are like, I can do this. I am not a product of my circumstances. So my clients hold me accountable too. I like getting up every morning and knowing that I'm helping people and that I get to go to work. Not that I have to go to work, but that I get to spend my days helping people to not have to go through what I went through. We can't get through to everybody, but for the ones that we do, and even the ones that we don't, and they call you and be like, hey, I need help. You know that you made that little bit of an impact.
That was such a great note to end on. And I am so happy you guys drove here to Bakersfield today to be part of the podcast. And I know that we will see you guys again. We joked before we started that we have been calling on them a lot, and we will continue to do that just because of how amazing the story is and the impact that you guys are going to continue to make in the community. And we will always want to support that here at DHS. So thank you guys so much for coming. And thank you to our listeners. Hopefully you've gotten something out of this today.